What's up, everyone? Hope you're all doing well. Today's an exciting day. Well, I guess it depends how you define exciting, but for me it is, because I wasn't sure this was something I would honestly do, and that is the marathon row. So 42,195 meters. I've only done one other one since getting back on the erg 18 months ago, and that was last April, which I did, funny enough, on a bit of a whim. I think I decided the day of to do it, so I hadn't necessarily done a ton of prep for it, didn't really think through a lot of the logistics for the row, and so was just really flying by the seat of my pants, and it ended up being okay, but there were a couple things that in hindsight I wished I would have done a little better job of preparing for. So today, hopefully I will have addressed those. I'll take you all through a little bit of my prep for the marathon, because the prep for a marathon row really doesn't start the day of. It's something you really need to be starting to prepare for, ideally at least a couple days before. Obviously, 42,000 meters is a lot of time on the seat, and that could take, depending on how fast you are, anywhere from 2.5 to 3.5 hours, several thousand strokes. So there's certainly some things that you want to be prepared for and take into account in the lead up. Now, starting a couple days ago, so when I talk about preparing a couple days before, really we're talking about rest, sleep, nutrition, hydration, maybe even stress management if you want to throw that in there. And so for me, a couple days ago, I think so today's Friday, starting Wednesday night, I made sure to get in bed at a fairly decent time and try to get at least a full 7 hours of sleep. 8 if I could swing it, but so Wednesday night, Thursday night, I was able to do that. So I got a couple good nights of sleep under my belt. And then I was eating a lot. Not necessarily eating, not just shoving food blindly into my mouth, but trying to eat food that I knew would not really upset my stomach, I would tolerate really well. Just trying to carb load a little bit, because obviously with this type of row, you're gonna burn through a lot of fuel. So I got good sleep, good food. As far as hydration goes, this is a big one, because especially for me and how much I sweat, and even on some of my recent longer rows, like half marathons, for example, I have started to experience dehydration towards the end. And so for me, getting those electrolytes going early, starting a couple days ago, is really important. Well, I guess it was starting yesterday morning. I took, over the course of the day, 2 or 3 servings of electrolyte powder. Started today with another serving of that. So hopefully that will help prevent some of that, early stage cramping that I was experiencing. I remember in last year's marathon, the last 4 or 5 kilometers, I was very, very close to cramping in a couple places. So hopefully I will avoid that today. I actually just took my usual pre-workout cocktail, if you want to call it that, about 20 minutes ago. I usually take it about 45 minutes to an hour before I start my hard rows, and that is usually creatine, beetroot powder. Usually I'll put beta alanine in there as well, but I didn't today because my pre-workout drink, or the drink that I mix in already contains that. And I'll put in a couple other supplements like citrulline malate, taurine, L-carnitine. There's one that I'm blanking on, but there are a few readily available supplements that I'll also throw in there before these types of sessions. And then as my base solution, I use a can of C4 energy drink. So I don't drink those all the time. I will reserve those for harder workouts, because I definitely feel the effect once I get into the session. Oh, also very important, something that I think is easy to overlook if you haven't done a lot of long rows before: sweat management, chafing. So as I mentioned earlier, I sweat a ton. And so for me, especially on longer sessions, it's not uncommon for me to develop some hot spots. So I will actually use Body Glide, which is easy to find on Amazon. I think it's $9 or $10 for a stick. Looks like a deodorant stick. And I used to use it a lot when I was running too. And I now, because I know exactly where those hot spots are, I can apply the Body Glide in a pretty targeted way. So for me in particular, I'll often get a little bit of chafing under the arms. I will get some irritation too on my chest or right where the handle makes contact with my chest. And then on the insides of my arms and the outsides of my knees where those spots rub against each other towards the catch. So I've applied Body Glide there pretty liberally. So hopefully that will take care of that. And yeah, let me show you all the rest of the setup that I've got going today. All right, so just pop the garage door open. Get a little more light in here, but so I like to have the garage door open while I train. One, it allows obviously better airflow, which is always nice. And two, I think having some natural light just feels better. Being under the fluorescent lights in the garage is obviously better than training in the dark, but natural light is much better. As far as airflow goes, I've also got my floor fan, which I always have behind me pretty much on every single row. I use it. And then I even set up, it might not be visible to the camera right now, but I have a tower fan as well set up over here. I don't normally use this, but I'm hoping that the goal with this actually really is to maybe help keep my hands a bit drier, keep some sweat from dripping in my eyes. We'll see how that goes. So next, and out of view of the camera, is actually my laptop, which is right in front of me here. I propped it up on one of our workout, or our plyo boxes that we have. And I'll put a movie on, something that doesn't require my full attention, but will distract me hopefully just enough that I'm not thinking about how much distance and time I have left on the machine. That's really the goal with that. I'll spend a minute here because this is something I've hopefully thought through and will be more effective than last year, which is my hydration and my fuel during the piece. So now some of you might be wondering, well, if you're on the rowing machine and your hands are obviously occupied, how are you gonna eat and drink all this? That is challenging for sure, but I did a longer training row on Monday. I did 3 by 10K, where a big reason I did that actually was to test out, I guess if you want to call it technique for how to get sips of water, how to get some food in without stopping on the machine. Because in my opinion, even for a marathon, you really don't want to stop at all. Because I think the moment you stop, you come to a complete stop, it's much harder to find that rhythm again. So for me, I want to be able to steal some sips of fluid and even some gel. I have gel packs here, applesauces as well. Just get some quick carbs in as I go. And usually, and what I will likely do is, because I tested this out on Monday, as I get to the finish of the stroke, gives me just enough time. Now, obviously I'll have to slow down a little bit, but I have just enough time to grab a sip. Whoops, just squirted all over myself. Great. Just enough time to grab a sip and then quickly get back up to the catch, and without really losing too much time. Now, obviously you're gonna take a couple strokes, the pace will bump up, but I figure if I do this every 2,500 meters or so, the trade-off is well worth it. Because again, I'm trying to stave off cramping and just, generally feeling like shit towards the end of the row. Now the gel packs, if you use gel packs, applesauces, whatever your food source is going to be, make sure you've ripped the tabs off, you've pre-opened everything. If you're going to eat an energy bar, break it up into small pieces, set it to the side so that you don't have to be fumbling around with any wrappers. Obviously that will cost you time, so I'll get that all set up before I start the piece. Extra towels here because in case my hands get really wet, or if for whatever reason I've got just sweat pouring down my face and my eyes, I want to just be able to grab a towel, really quickly dry myself off, chuck it to the side, and keep going. That's why I had a stack of, I don't know how many are here, 10 or 12 towels. Hopefully I won't need them all, but you'd rather have more than you need than not enough. And a couple other finer points that are easy to overlook. but I'm very superstitious about in particular, make sure you've cleaned the slide rail. And you don't need anything fancy for this. I actually just use paper towels and a little water. Make sure you wipe down the slide rail. You'll often see that black, what kind of looks like black grease. So make sure you clean all that off. And don't forget to clean the rollers as well. Now it's a little hard to do, but my technique is I'll take my wet paper towel and I'll roll the seat back or away from whichever way I'm trying to clean. And as I roll it, I will wipe the rollers, both sides, with the paper towel. So I've done the front roller here, and I'm gonna do the back. Same technique, I'm gonna slide the seat away from me. Just give those rollers both sides of the roller, since that's where it makes contact with the rail. Wipe that down. Double check again. Sometimes stuff will fall from the roller onto the seat or onto the rail. Just make sure that's nice and clear. And then you're good to go. One other thing too, I'm a little superstitious about. So let me actually get here. Before longer rows, I will make sure to lube the chain. Now, I've already done it earlier, so I'm not going to do it again now, but just to show you, all you need is some 3-in-1 multi-purpose oil. You can use a rag like I have back here, or I use paper towel as well. A little bit of oil, you don't need a ton, on the paper towel, and then just pull the chain out. Now I like to pull it all the way out as far as it can go, and I will basically take the paper towel and just kind of hold it along the sides, top and bottom, side to side, not really squeezing it too hard, just letting the oil coat the links along the chain. Now, what I probably need to do, honestly, actually, especially the section of chain closer to the handle, in my case, can get really gunked up because sweat will, spray off over time. That collects in the chain as well. I can just see a lot of dirt and grime. So one of these days, I'll probably actually take a toothbrush and just scrape all that out. Now, you don't want to use cleaning products on the chain, but I think a little toothbrush, and then again, just reapplying the oil is probably all you need. But I like to do it before these longer pieces because, again, I'm a bit superstitious now. I feel like if I take care of the erg will hopefully take care of me. And that is about it. So it might seem silly to warm up before spending 2.5, 3 hours on the rower, but I am going to warm up. It'll be short, but if I don't warm up, the first few kilometers of the marathon are not going to feel great, and I don't want to start my piece just in that state of mind. So I think for me, getting loose, getting 1,500 meters or so beforehand just to get a sweat, and also maybe take a couple 10-stroke bursts at my target race pace will help warm me up just enough so that when I start the marathon itself, I'll be ready to go and can hit the ground running. So I'm gonna get that process started soon. Nothing to it but to do it now. So see you guys on the other side.
man, this is what I remember from last year's too. I mean, certainly my aerobic system is tired, no doubt about it, but the worst part is just how sore the soft tissues are. Oh my God. It's like I can't, any slight movement and it's just agony. So, I need to lie down, but I can't even bend over. I'm not trying to be dramatic, I just actually don't think I can walk.
Oh my God.
I gotta lie down, Mom.
Wow.
I'm okay, Mom. I'm okay. I just need to lie down for a few minutes. Only once a year, Mom, don't worry. Okay. Oh, geez, now my foot's cramping. Yeah, it's really hard to manage. I have a really hard time managing hydration on these longer pieces just because I sweat so much that it's pretty much impossible for me to, replenish the amount of fluid that I'm losing. So basically, I'm just trying to do just whatever I can to not fall apart with 5 or 10 kilometers to go. Pretty much executed exactly the race plan I had in mind, which was to try to keep it right in between 150, 151s, just sort of fluttering back and forth through the first 30K or so. I wanted to be, or I figured if I was around a 150.5 with 10K left, that I at least would have a shot at bringing it down below 150 if I had a good final 10K. So I think I was at about 12K left and a 150.6 or so just a tiny bit behind where I wanted to be, but I started my push, I think, with around 12K left. And then, yeah, the last 10K was just a lot of just counting strokes by tens, honestly, to get through that. Once I saw the average tick down to 150.5, I think it took me about 1,500 meters or so, maybe 1,800 meters to drop it down by a tenth. So just doing, the quick mental math in my head, that was when I knew, okay, if I can keep that up, I can get it should be able to get it below 150 and still have a little bit of wiggle room if I need to back off for a couple thousand meters. So my confidence went up definitely with about 10K left, knowing that I had a little bit of room to play with, and fortunately was able to hang on till the end. Didn't feel any cramps coming on at all, which was much better compared to last year's, where I remember the last 5, 6, 7K were a little dicey. I could almost feel my hamstring, just that slight twinge. And the moment you start to feel that, right, it's hard to be confident. And you're really just focusing on finishing the piece. But today I didn't feel that really at all, and I don't know if that has to do with the little bit of fluids I did take in. I think I was over optimistic in how much I'd be able to drink during the piece. I probably only got in maybe 12 to 15 ounces of fluids and 2 gels and an applesauce. It's better than nothing. But anyways, definitely not gonna do that again anytime soon. But I'm glad I did it, and it's a good mark for the season. And yeah, lifetime personal best. Sub 150 is a nice milestone to hit. And yeah, now I gotta just rehydrate, take a hot shower, maybe soak in some bath salts later tonight. Because my kids aren't going to care that I'm tired and sore. I'm going to need to be at 100% in a couple hours once I pick them up from school. If any of you are thinking about doing a marathon anytime soon, before the season ends perhaps, hopefully some of my tips earlier can help you out. Best of luck. So until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep chasing. Peace.